discouragement, just a lot of things. And I just wanted to share with you. I know that uh, we've we've been journeying together for quite some time, and just wanted to kind of confess something that I've been personally struggling with, and just get it out. I just felt like I needed to go live and get it out and talk to you about it. So. Trying to serve God is hard. Trying to live for the Lord is hard. Trying to be in leadership is hard. And I started my church with 18 people. I never cared about numbers. I never thought it was going to become 7 campuses in 8 years. But as things have grown, the Lord has given me assignments. And I'm going to tell you why I'm so discouraged. Like literally, I just so overwhelmed with the feeling that I had to jump on and just talk to you about it. Last year, after 3 years of doing my annual conference and turning away thousands of people and having medical emergencies and all this crazy stuff happen during the conferences, I said, let's go to a stadium because the Lord told me to go to Chicago. So we filled up the entire stadium last year. And it was this incredible move of God. And then when I left, the Lord said, Mike, go back to Chicago the same time next year and build an altar of intercessors and prayer warriors and those who will seek my face and those who desire my glory. And so I got a message from my team today. Now, mind you, I'm watching all this viral footage of Anthony Phillip Mitchell's Access gathering, and which was incredible. And I'm seeing that they filled up an entire stadium and an arena. And, I'm watching people come from all over the world to be a part of it, standing in line for hours and hours. And we've experienced a version of that the last 4 years with the Breakers Conference. And that's why we went to Chicago last year and filled up the stadium. And so, but as I'm looking at this, I hit up my team today and I said, hey, what are we looking at in Chicago? And they said, hey, it's only halfway full. It's only halfway full. And when they said that, it's just like my stomach dropped. And I was like, but God told me. He told me to go to Chicago. He told me. And as a matter of fact, like President Trump is sending soldiers from Texas to Chicago. And there's all this racial divide forming. And there's all these protests happening. And the more things went down in Chicago, the more I was like, this is a confirmation that on October 25th, we're supposed to be there. And we're going to heal the racial divide. And we're going to pray. And we're going to intercede and we're going to build an altar right in the middle of all this chaos. And I know I heard from God. But then the question I had was like, where's everybody at? And so many people are struggling right now. Like 22 out of the 50 states in the US are in a recession right now. And I know this because I pastor a 7-location church across the darkest cities of the US. And there's so many people that are like, I can't afford it. And it's so expensive and this and this and this. But I'm seeing what God did in Atlanta. I'm seeing what God did with Anthony Phillip Mitchell. And I'm like, and I know that we sold it out last year. And so I'm like, God, you can do it again. And it's not about, it's not about numbers. It's about what it represents. It represents people mobilizing. It represents people coming together and building altars in a time where we need it in this nation. And so I just dealing with a lot of extreme discouragement. And so anyways, I go to this coffee shop, Ebenezer's, and I'm in Washington, D.C., where I just spoke main stage for Lou Engle and his team and Communion America. And there were, just tens of thousands of people between the live stream in person from all over the country. So I'm thinking, okay, God, you're going to do what you did in Atlanta this weekend. You're going to do what you did in D.C. this last weekend. And you're going to push that momentum to Chicago on October 25th. And we're going to fill the Now Arena and we're going to keep this momentum, this revival going. And then when I found out that it's only halfway full with only, whatever, 10, 11, 12 days to go, I was just like, man, God, like, what's going on? What's the block? And so anyways, I just wanted to talk to you guys through this discouragement because I had a very powerful prophetic moment here in Ebenezer's. So Mark Batterson, he's a really prolific writer and a preacher and a pastor here in DC. He started this coffee shop. And so I just came here to support. I came here being like, you know what, I'm gonna get some coffee on the way out. But he has this book that's on the shelf in here called it's called Chasing the Lion. And I just randomly open up the book. And as I open it up, it literally says, we bought a coffee shop in DC called Ebenezer's. And when we bought this coffee shop, all the odds were against us. It looked like it was impossible. We had already started church campuses here, but with the zoning and the construction and all the permitting and everything, it looked like it wasn't going to happen. And then we got an unexpected victory, and we were able to open a coffee shop and be the light in the darkness in DC. And he said the Lord took him. This is what I'm reading in this book in his coffee shop. He said the Lord took him on this journey of studying how the prophet Samuel, when Israel got this unexpected victory against the Philistines, that he built this altar, and he actually named the altar Ebenezer's, and Ebenezer means God helped us get an unexpected victory. The Lord intervened. And so I want you guys to pray with me because right now, I mean, I'm telling you, I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars for production and rentals and all this to do a stadium event in Chicago. And it's only halfway full with 10 or 11, 12 days left. And I just think, we need to get out the word. I've been on a 3.5 month sabbatical. And so my mind started going through, well, if I never went on sabbatical, I could have talked about it more on my live streams. More people would have known, more people would have been able to plan ahead. My team doesn't, always know how to get the word out like I do because I'm the one building the relationship. And I went to the natural. And then all of a sudden, when I was reading that page in his book, it was like all of a sudden the Lord was like, no, there's a supernatural element to this. And so, like, I just believe that we are going to completely fill up Chicago, not for my glory, not to glorify any man, but to glorify Jesus Christ. So I will not be live streaming the event in Chicago. There will be no live stream. Just like we saw with Anthony Philip Mitchell, 2819 Access, there's holy moments. There's times where God asks us to do it unto him. Last year, I live streamed because I knew that there were actually thousands of people that weren't able to be there last year. And so I was trying to give them an opportunity to see it and to be apart from home. And we got, thousands and thousands of supernatural healing and deliverance testimonies. But I feel like for this year, there's no live stream. And it just needs to be like whoever does come is coming there not to be an audience member, but to be an army member, to join the army, to help me fight, to contend against these demonic spirits trying to destroy our nation and rob our families. And I'm feeling this like deep in my soul. And so again, I'm battling a ton of discouragement because I'm like, Lord, I've done everything that I know to do. I've tapped all of my finances to get into the stadium. I saw what you did in Atlanta. I saw what you just did in DC, where I was here on the stage preaching and ministering. But I know now you want to move it from the East Coast into the Midwest. And I believe it'll go prophetically from the Midwest, Chicago on October 25th to the West Coast in LA. But I'm just discouraged. So I just wanted to kind of lay this burden down with you guys. The thing that encouraged me is when I was in Ebenezer's, I randomly grabbed Mark Batterson's book. I opened it up in the middle of the book, and I did one of those old school, you ever open the Bible and you just say, God, I hope you have a word for me, and you open it up to the middle. I literally just opened his book. I was like, Lord, just speak to me. I don't know what else to do. And I looked and it said, I started a coffee shop called Ebenezer's. And I'm standing in the coffee shop reading this. And Ebenezer means God has helped and given an unexpected victory. And so, guys, pray with me, join with me. But I think that there's so many Christians playing games right now that are like, oh, they don't understand sacrifice. That's why I'm shutting off the live stream for Breakers and we're not going to live stream it, because it's like, I don't want spectators. I don't want people who just, they're in the comfortability of their home and they just watch it. I want people who are like, no, I did whatever I could do to get here. Just like the friends that ripped the roof apart and lowered their friend through the roof to get a miracle from Jesus. It was an activation of faith. And so I need to be with those who are, by faith, you know what I'm saying? Saying like, hey, I want to be in this room. I did whatever I could to be here, and by faith. So guys, thank you. So much for helping me. Pray for me. I'm battling discouragement. It looks like it's impossible. It looks like Chicago is not going to succeed, but I believe that God will give us an Ebenezer. So I love you guys.